Blessings, family. I'm going to call in Astra'Luma to do a particle shift for manifesting. I know this year is really about focusing on manifesting our 5D reality, and it's important to recognize when we are still creating in the third dimension. And a great indicator is if your body feels tense, if you're feeling stressed, if you're trying to make things happen, you're looping in old stories, or even just focusing on just what's happening within the third dimension and not opening up to what's beyond that. So, an example of that would be even the war that's happening. So, we can look at that and we can connect into the third dimensional experience of that. And we want to do that because we want to see what the third dimensional reality is showing us. But then we also want to open ourselves up by saying, well, in this case, what do I want to experience? And that starts to move us into possibility that turns into the probability of a new world. So when we continue to feed the energy into what is being shown, it strengthens those particles, the reality gets stronger. We, on some level, either are in resistance or agreeing to it. And really, resistance and agreeing to something that is within the third dimension are both going to strengthen those particles. In the fifth dimension, when we agree to creation of a new world, and that becomes our focus, it allows our consciousness to move into particles that have not been informed, allow them to be informed by the frequency of source. And then our job is to focus on that. So now I want to walk you through this. So, what we're going to do right now is just bring an intention in that you are working on, bring it into your heart space. And then I want you to take a moment in what does it look like in your life right now? It's either absent and it's something that you desire. It may be that something is happening in your life that you're wanting to shift. So you're not desiring what you're experiencing and you're wanting to bring it into a different frequency or a different timeline so that you can experience it differently. You know what it is. I'll let you kind of play with that. So that is the starting line. That's the where we're going to meet consciousness. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to invite with our intention to experience our desire in a fifth dimensional state. Or another way of saying that is to take the particles of the third dimension and bring them into the fifth and have the experience of what it is to particle shift. Because remember, what we're in observation of creates our reality. So if we're continuing to observe the third dimension, we're going to get more of the third dimension. But if we're opening our consciousness up, and this is the hardest part of creating in the fifth dimension, is that we are so trained to observe the material world that we forget that there are other dimensions that are going on at the same time. There are multiple timelines going on at the same time. So, depending on where we're holding our consciousness, is going to be experience of the timeline that we're in. So, right now, we're going to simply ask to have the experience in the fifth dimensional timeline or the fifth dimension just in general. When I say timeline in this case, I'm really saying frequency shift because once we move into the fifth dimension, timelines, meaning they're not going to be linear, they're going to be spatial, they're going to be spherical. We're going to experience time in a different way. So, intention is to bring the particles or our consciousness into the particles of the fifth dimension and then have the experience of what it is to manifest particles that have not been observed, that are in possibility through our observation. Well, how do we observe something that hasn't been created? This is the biggest part that I want you to pay attention to because we cannot observe from the state at which we were first observing from. Meaning, we cannot observe from the programmed mind. We have to put our consciousness in a space of what I call the abstract or in the allowing state. So we're going to move into the state of, I wish to have the experience of this in the fifth dimension or at a higher frequency. In that moment, something happens. There is a particle realignment. So those third dimensional particles will start to move into possibility because you took your observation out of what is and put it into something that is becoming. Allow those particles to begin to shift. So, what do we do with our consciousness? We keep it in a state of allowing. So, what are we allowing? We're allowing the particles to move into the frequency of what it is that we asked for. So we'll do a quick exercise right now to show you the difference between trying to imagine the particles shifting and simply allowing them to shift and to inform your consciousness. This is the biggest change, is that we don't want consciousness creating our reality. We want the intelligence that is running the what I call source intelligence or divine intelligence to inform our consciousness of the reality that we're becoming. All right, so really quickly, we're going to do this exercise because you're going to want to know how to hold your consciousness once we do the activation. So shut your eyes and just imagine a sunflower. Bring the sunflower into your mind's eye. And as you're holding the image of the sunflower, I want you to feel in your body what it feels like, the energy it takes to imagine the sunflower and to hold it. Feel what your body feels like. Okay, now I want you to this is a really fast exercise. It's so easy. This is how easy it is to shift into the fifth dimension. Now shut your eyes and you're just going to wipe that clean. Now I want you to shut your eyes and we're going to use your consciousness in a different way. So shut your eyes, and now you're going to ask that the frequency of source that is stored in your DNA to show you a sunflower. Now you're waiting to be shown what a sunflower is. You're in a state of allowing. Your consciousness is open. It's in a receiving state. You're waiting for the frequency of source to release in your body to receive what a sunflower is. You could even say, what is a sunflower in the fifth dimension? Feel what that feels like. Feel what your body is feeling, the energy. What has changed? And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And for most people, the second state is more expansive. It's lighter. It feels good. A lot of times people will say they become the sunflower. This is the frequency of source informing your consciousness of what you are or what the experience is in a higher frequency or dimensional state. Now we're going to do this activation. And as you're doing the activation, and when we're finished with it, you're going to keep your consciousness in that state of allowing and continue to allow source to show you what it is to manifest the fifth dimension. Your focus will be on your intention. And the idea behind this is that after we do the activation, that you can continue to open up consciously to what it is to manifest beyond the third dimension, your programming, the looping cycles, the trying to make it happen. All right, everyone. So again, just placing your intention in your heart space. Go ahead and shut your eyes. And we're just going to go in and do a quick activation with Astra'Luma. So Astra'Luma's light language is connected to quantum equations that are creating our fifth dimensional reality. So as they are using the light language, they're taking those particles, moving them into a wave state, aligning them into the fifth dimension, and rearranging them into a stabilization for you to experience this consciously. Okay, here we go. Manifestation. Manifestation through fifth dimensional frequency. We will first activate 12-strand DNA system. Pineal gland. Activation transmission, turning on all 12 strands. Breshe to komprush kiti, maishata kadresha kantu. Activation. Evolution technology. Control Qtrit begins to spin. Connecting consciousness, subconsciousness, higher consciousness. Bringing consciousness 0 points. You will begin to feel a spin in the center of your brain. As it is spinning, it is bringing all cells of the body into 0 points. Activation wave state. Breshe komprishkanti. Konsharareshetakakan. Activation intention. You will begin to feel the waves of your body, the particles, open more space as they begin to move into a multidimensional state, a wave state. Breshe sukumbrushkanti. Asharashum brunko shudokan. Activation technology. Connecting consciousness to wave state 0 point. Allowing consciousness to be in the purity beyond observation. Consciousness connected and ready to be informed through particle shift, dimensional shift, observation at 0 point. Brish kumpru, gus kesheda kambrashantaki, creating the mechanics of the shift. Feeling the particles of your body as they begin to align with quantum equation of shift. Breshe te komprushki, konstrushra kampra. Activation, allowing 12-strand DNA system. Releasing frequency of particle shifts, stabilization, 5th dimension. Bresham Prukush, releasing source frequency, connecting to intention, connecting particle waves, connecting consciousness. Stabilization. Bresa kososhunduko oshe tikans rushi. Barashata kosho to compre shi tikampra. Barashati to compresh kanti. Transmission. Allowing stabilization to attune consciousness. This frequency will be beyond our words. Beginning transmission now. Allowing transmission move through neural pathways. Upgrading nervous system. Allowing fascia system. Communication, command central. Activation of intention. Blueprint fully activated. Alchemization of reality shift has stabilized. Full connection, understanding. Higher consciousness. All systems have fully activated. Now it is time to experience the new construction of particles. These particles are holding frequency of source connected to your consciousness. Continue to stay in allowing state as you experience what it is for consciousness to be informed by the higher operating system of the DNA. All that is needed, all the information, guidance you have full access to. Your body is a walking blueprint of this particle shift. All right, everyone. So let me know what your intention is, what you're feeling. I always feel lighter after this. I can tell that the particles of my body have shifted. So let me know what you're feeling. And I'm just sending you all so much love and a big hug. Give me a little heart. Okay.